Jen. Thanks for coming in today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Lisa. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. So, I know in the last couple of sessions we've been talking about your move. If I remember correctly, you moved here about a year ago with your partner. You moved to Oregon from Hawaii.
Yes.
So how's that adjustment been going for the last year now that you've been here?
Finally acclimating to the weather. And the cat is loving it here more than living in Hawaii. I guess she likes it being colder than usual.
Oh, well, sounds like she's happy. How's your partner been doing with the move?
She seems to have adjusted much faster than I have.
Oh, okay. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about how you've adjusted?
Well, going from year-round 75-degree weather to fluctuation of weather that could be from 60 degrees to 29 degrees. It's very different, but I'm glad that I know how to layer on my clothing.
That's a good thing. So it sounds like you're learning to adjust.
Uh-huh.
It's been slow, but you're getting there, right?
Yeah, I think it's much better now.
That's good. And how's work been going for you?
To be honest, I've been actually kind of frustrated and irritated at work. And also a lot of anxiety because I was out sick for about a week. And because of that, the time that it took to recover, I feel I'm even more so behind on my work more now than ever.
Wow, that sounds really difficult. So, before you were out for the week, were you feeling those feelings of frustration and anxiety, or was
Not
it just with
as
that
much. It seems that, with that week being gone, it feels like everything just condensed into a lot more stress.
Okay, well, I'm really sorry to hear that you're feeling stressed out. And those are really strong emotions to feel of, frustration, anxiety, and irritation. Do you feel that it's affected you, like, outside of the office, or do you feel like you're been able to kind of cope with it okay?
Actually, it's been on my mind pretty much on a daily. When I leave work, I feel like I'm still thinking about work once I get home. And even in bed, and ruminating over what I could have done and what I have to do next tomorrow morning. And it's affecting my sleep and also my my free time on the weekends.
Wow, that's a lot. For our work to leak into your personal life, affecting not only your weekends of a time that should be hopefully relaxing for some people, but also your sleep patterns. I was thinking, do you want to try an activity with me today to maybe kind of process these kind of feelings you're feeling right now?
Sure.
All right. Well, the activity I want to try with you today it's called a thought record. And so right here I have this worksheet that is kind of, as you can see here, there's several columns that we have. And what I'll do is I'll go through each column with you and just kind of have you jot down your thoughts in your own words, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's take a look at that situation at work. So I want you to just kind of think of where you were. Obviously, you're at work. What was going on? When did it happen? And who was there at that moment?
Sure.
Okay. So what do you have there?
I was, a couple hours into my work. I was
Mm-hmm.
at my desk and working on the file and emails. And in popped my boss, calling in all of our attention, me and my coworkers' attention, and drop everything that we were doing at that moment.
Okay. So when your boss came in and told you to drop everything in that moment, that instant, what are some of the moods that you were feeling? So kind of limit them to one-word moods.
I got irritated and anxious.
Ooh, those are some moods right there. So of those, if you had to rank them from a 0 to 100, how did you feel when you were irritated, and how did you feel when you were anxious?
Well, they were both 70%
Okay.
of my mood.
Okay. So when you thought, like, if you wanted to pick one, which one do you want to kind of look at today?
The anxiety.
Anxiety? Okay. So what are some thoughts that popped into your head that when you felt that feelings of anxiousness when your boss walked in and said, drop everything?
What did I do now?
Okay.
Can't this wait?
Okay. And so, of those two thoughts of, what did you do now and can't this wait? Which one had the strongest feelings for you?
Well, I would say, what did I do wrong now?
Okay. So, what was there in that situation that kind of, felt that you did something wrong in that instant? Like, what made you feel that way? Like, if you had to look it back on why you felt like, what did I do wrong now?
Well, I've made mistakes before.
Okay.
I'm so far behind at work, and I'm sure there's something that I missed.
Okay. Well, and so right here in this next column here, you can see evidence that doesn't support that thought. So what kind of evidence do you have that wouldn't support the thought that, of what did I do wrong now?
Well, she was addressing the both of me, me and my coworker, so it obviously wasn't a personal issue.
Okay. Is there any other evidence that you have, or?
No, I think that was pretty much my thought process. Well, it can't be just something I did wrong. She's addressing something that my coworker ought to know too.
Okay, well that's good insight. So kind of taking the next column, as you can see, is called an alternative thought. So what we're kind of looking at is taking your thoughts from like the evidence that you have of like, you're so far behind and you've made mistakes in the past, but also taking into account that your coworker was also called into this meeting of dropping everything now. What's an alternative thought that could maybe come into your mind if your boss comes in and says, Jen and coworker, I need you to drop everything now? What do you think might be that thought that comes into mind?
Well, it wasn't something personal that I did, so she ought to have gotten a reason to pull me and my coworker in at that given time to pretty much put me and my coworker on the same page about a certain issue, so that something that was coming down the pipeline, me and my coworker will be pretty much well informed on.
Okay, well that's a really good alternative thought, Jen. Kind of taking into consideration and making it not a personal thing of your boss out to get you because you're so far behind, but just that she wants you and your coworker to be on the same page. So kind of taking that alternative thought into mind, how does that kind of make you feel as far as like your anxiety level? It was at a 70 when we started this activity. Like,
I had a sense of relief that she wasn't out to get me, and that I can go on with my email like as soon as our discussion was over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely some sort of relief there. I mean, I still had my anxiety, but it wasn't as high as 70, I would say.
Okay.
That relief, I would say it was at like 30% at that moment.
30, that's really great to hear. And the good thing about this activity is it just kind of helps you to kind of work through when you have like a strong emotion that kind of comes up, whether it's that feeling of anxiety or frustration, or even if you have moments of anger or sadness, you can kind of sit and take a break and just kind of think of, work through the thoughts. So kind of work through and identify that hot thought, that feeling, that thought that pops into your head that's just kind of really gets you. And then to kind of work through it and say, okay, well, what's the evidence that supports that thought? And what's the evidence that doesn't? And then, again, taking a break to look at those two and say, well, was this really what was going on in that situation, like with your boss, where she wasn't out to get you, but she just wanted you and your coworker to be on the same page? Do you think it's something that you could use maybe out, like, on an everyday occurrence?
I definitely can use this, especially with my partner at home, too.
Oh, well, hopefully, it's in good situations, but like maybe you can I can give you an extra sheet or so, and maybe you can kind of take it home, and maybe if you guys are both having those feelings, or she may be having those feelings, you can kind of share this activity with her. What do you say?
I'd like that.
All right. Well, I'm really glad that you came in today, and thank you so much for sharing these thoughts. I know that they can't be easy to share, so I appreciate it, and I appreciate you coming in today. So, does it sound like we'll meet again maybe next week or so?
Sure.
All right, well, let me go get those activity sheets for you, and I'll see you next week.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.